our Zoom session. Let's do some Tuesday morning breath work to get us energized and focused for today. Jump into your standing position. Let's do some creating space in the body, in the ribs, in the spine to actually get that breath nice and efficient and flowing. So we'll start off with a little bit of a spine stretch. So we just connect our fingers together there, bringing our palms up to chest, rotating, extending up. Just got a nice crack there through my collarbone, and then soft down to the side. Not forcing anything, not overstretching, so just easing the body into the day, reaching up, and then soft. Keep going. I'm just going to let someone else into Zoom. It's Tom, yeah. And reach. Have the feet about shoulder width apart. The reason why we have about shoulder width apart is we give a really good stable base, so we can be really strong and stable and supported through the lower body. And then we can focus on extending the spine, lightening the upper body. Bringing the breath with it, so we are breathing in through the nose. Just breathing light, so you don't need to make a sound. We're not pulling breath into the body. And then breathing out as we come down. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. In. Out. Two more. In. Out. Shoulders relaxed. Out. Palms up to chest, and then just push out to the side. Stretch the fingers, stretch the arms, keep the shoulders down, and just breathing naturally in and out, holding that position, but just breathing easy. Strong through the arms, push through the arms, stretch the fingers. Then soften the fingers, soften the hands, back to chest, back down. Same thing, palms up to chest height. So this is soft, and then you can be strong as you push out. Strong, push out to the sides, but breathe, keep breathing. And the breath is deep down here. The breath is into the ribs. Push through the arms, stretch the fingers out, breathing, and then soft, relax down. One more, come up, soft, strong push. It's like you're pushing away from you, pushing something away from you each side, stretching out those arm lines, breathing easy. It's very easy just to hold the breath and hold tension everywhere when you're doing this, but just breathe easy, strong through the arms. I can feel some heat in my arms, in my wrists. Breathing easy, Shoulders down and relaxed. And then back to center. Just bring the feet about hip width and just feel now the energy, those tingling sensations through the arm lines, through the arms, into the hands. Connecting to the ground through the feet, so really strong through the lower body. And then lifting and lengthening. Feel the lightness and the openness in the upper body. Step back out. A little bit of bend in the knees. Let's do spinal cord breathing. So we're extending, opening up the spine. Think of opening up the front of the spine here as you look up to the sky, lifting your heart up to the sky, and then keeping the knees bent just a little bit, curl and tuck under. So curl yourself into a tiny ball. And then again, keeping the knees bent, open up the front of the spine. So we're looking to create movement, flexibility, mobility through the spine here. And just go into that nice flowing movement. Breathing in as you come up. Again, the breath is quiet, it's just soft, effortless. It's almost like the body is breathing itself. The spine is breathing for you. Smooth movement equals smooth breath. Smooth breath equals smooth movement. Not forcing, not pushing. 2 more. It's always nice in between these movements just to come back to your comfortable standing position. Just check in with how you're feeling, what you notice going on in the body. Focusing on grounding and being strong and rooted through the feet to the ground, strong through the hips, and then lifted and light and lifted and energized in the upper body. Step back out. Dog wags the tail. So let's just start. People were doing it already on Zoom. They knew what was coming. So you're just going side to side. It almost feels as if this is then what you need after that extension and flexion, is this lateral movement. So just that wave-like, seaweed-like, floating in the water movement through the spine. So the energy is coming from the ground. Obviously you're pushing into the ground, strong through the lower body. That fires the hips moving side to side. And then just let the spine follow. So you're going lower back, mid back, upper back. And the bit that is always really difficult, I think, for most people is just to let that head go side to side. So I'm not physically shaking my head, it's just moving. I lost the flow then when I started physically shaking my head. It's just going with the flow, going with the movement. Shoulders relaxed. Breathing easy. When we're walking, when we're running, when we're moving forwards, there is a very subtle lateral flexion. So obviously we're not, hopefully not walking along like this or running along like this, but we do need, every time we land, if we just make this a little bit smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until you come to a stop, there's still that sensation. If you take a step now, so bring the feet together and just take a few steps forwards and then step back and step forwards, you'll feel there's going to be a little bit of, when you step on that side, you're not just pushing yourself forwards, there's that little bit of sideways movement. So it's good to have that flexibility in that lateral flow in this, what is called a frontal plane. Let's do a little bit of shaking now. So just shake everything out, tapping the heels into the ground, shaking the hands. And think about the legs as pumping energy or pumping vibration through the body, so that the heels send that vibration all the way up through the hips, all the way through the back, the lower back, the spine, into the shoulders, into the jaw. So feel that vibration through the body, legs pumping that energy through. Let's do a couple of breaths now. So a nice, long, full, I just did Andrew's class this morning and he said satisfying breath, and I thought that was a really nice visualization. So it's a satisfying breath in and sigh out. Really just letting go of any physical tightness and tension in the body. Also letting go any emotional tightness or tension, frustration, anger in the body. So breath in and just be in the moment, just be grateful for the moment that you have now, that you can take that energy in, take that breath in and then slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. Come back to standing. Now what do you feel? Ooh, yep. Can feel tingling. Where do you feel the tingling? Take your time to let the breath settle. Step back out. We're going to spend time on a couple of the flows, so a little bit longer on these flowing exercises or movement, these Qigong flows, just so you can really get into the physical movement with the breath, and then just really get that sense of just going with the flow, just feeling like the movement is happening without you having to think about it. So we've practiced this before. This is called Buddha holds up the earth, so a little bit of bend in the knees. Let's do the physical movement first. Palms come up to chest height. Then we get a spiral. Really focus on that spiral. So the wrist spiral, the elbow spiral, the shoulder spiral. The spine extends as you hold the earth above you. We're not here, we're not pulling the shoulders up. So we get that nice length, that nice openness through the side of the ribs there. And then you bring the movement back through the center line, spiraling again through that center line. So coming up, spiral, holding up the earth, looking up, spiraling back down. So just work on that, just focusing on your physical movement. Just get the structure of the movement into your movement pattern, just learn that movement pattern. Spiraling up. Couple more just with the movement, smooth movement. And just take a moment there, rest. A couple of things to focus on when you're doing the movement is we often think, oh, this is the movement, I'm holding up the earth, or I'm doing this movement, and then that's not part of the movement. So there is the movement, but also really pay attention to the movement all the way back down, all the way. And then I'm not just dropping here, I'm not just finishing, it's coming down, and there's still energy, there's still attention to the movement as you're coming back up. So all the way through that movement. The other little thing to focus on, which is a nice focus, is when you're holding up the space here. So just that little bit of space between the thumb and is that the index finger? The first finger. So I'm not here, I'm just a little bit of stretch there. Open up that space there. Now you might, if you're working on a mouse or something like that, that's my right hand there, you might find that's a little bit tighter. So that just opens up that space into, you can feel it opening up the space into the chest. So a couple more, just focusing on those points. Spiraling. Two more, just focusing on those points. And now just bring the breath with it. So you're breathing in. So bring your attention now to the breath and just notice the breath, how you're breathing in and how you're breathing out. Couple more with the breath, just focusing or being aware of the breath in Breath out. And then just take a rest. Shake out, move the shoulders a little bit if you need a little bit more shake. Release any tightness or tension. With the breath, a couple of things to focus on with the breath is, firstly, it should feel comfortable with that movement. So you certainly don't want to be struggling with the breath or running out of breath when you're doing that. So that's not the purpose of the breath with that particular movement in this particular case. Get that idea of the breath is really light. So if I started to pull breath in, I'd have almost like filled everything up before I get here. Then I have to hold the breath to the top. And then if I just let everything out, it's just deflated. So if you breathe really light and slow and quietly, should feel comfortable. So I was hardly taking any air in. I was just almost like just letting the movement help guide the breath into the body, and actually the other way around as well, the breath to guide the movement. And then breath out, slow. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Just pay attention to that really gentle, slightly cooler air as you feel it just coming in through the nostrils. Two more. Just focusing on slightly cool air coming in through the nose. And just take a moment there, take a rest there. So that really light and slow and effortless breath with the movement. Often when we're thinking of, oh, I need to breathe like this, we start to do the breath. So actually just allow the breath to happen, just allow the body and the breath to work together. The other thing to focus on is breathing deep. So actually when we're coming up, we can still focus on just softening here. So breathing, the breath comes in light and slow, but it also comes in deep. So even though we're lifting up, I'm not bringing all the breath up here. I'm bringing the breath down, or I'm allowing myself to be really strong and grounded through the legs. So the breath is going deep into the body as well. Remember, deep doesn't necessarily mean big. So I'm not taking a bigger volume of air in. I'm just feeling the breath coming down, right down to below the belly button. So just focus on the depth of the breath as you're breathing in. And you're breathing out. Breathing in. So soften the belly. breathing out. Soften the belly as you breathe in. Breathe in deep. Breathe out. Soften as you breathe in. Soften into the hips. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Two more. Breathing in. Breathing out. Take a rest there for a minute. This is something that I'm really, in my personal practice, really exploring, because it's so difficult to cue breathing into the hips or to actually feel that. But when we're breathing in, just think logically what is going on is when we're breathing in, particularly when we're opening up the ribs, the diaphragm is moving down a little bit. When the diaphragm moves down, it creates pressure on the pelvic floor down here. So that will move down, that will give a little bit. So what we don't want to be doing is just constantly pulling everything up, everything tight in that area, because everything is then just being pulled up. It becomes over tight, it becomes hypertonic. So just allow, particularly in this really comfortable standing structural position, just allow the pelvic floor here just to soften as you breathe in. And that's really nice as you're breathing, as you're lifting up as well. Then with the out breath, there's just a very light, hardly any noticeable engagement of the pelvic floor coming up a little bit to help with that breath out. So we don't want to overdo it. We don't want to overforce breath in or tighten up too much down here. This is what is great about these flow practices, is the more you just go with the flow, the more you can go, oh yeah, I can let go and relax a little bit more there. I can soften a little bit more here. So it's not like doing an exercise where you're going, right, I've done my 10 reps and that's it. You really want to get into that sense of flow and energy and strength and relaxation. So let's just, for the last couple of minutes or a minute and a half, just in silence together, this simple movement, breathing in and then breathing out. Just one more. And then just finish off with pulling down the sky, crossing palms, resting palms on that lower abdomen, bringing the feet together. Just closing your eyes. Taking a breath in, opening your eyes, stepping out, having any little stretch that you may need. A little bit of a brush down the legs, on your tummy, and we'll finish there. Good, excellent. I like to spend a little bit more time exploring those simple flow practices because you do need to really take your time to get into that flow. If you think if you're running and stuff like that, you know it takes time for your body to settle into that, for your mind to connect with the body. So that's what we want to get out of these sessions, particularly with the breath work. Have a great day. Thank you very much for joining me. The weather's fantastic down here in London. So I'm just going to go out and get a little bit more preparation done for Costa Brava, which I'll be heading off to hopefully in a few weeks' time. So I will see you on Thursday for the movement class. Have a good day. Thanks for joining. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye all.